Are you ready to learn from someone who loves to build things to add more into the world, especially with AI? This is the Skillset podcast, where every single week we're bringing in a ton of amazing guests for you to listen and to learn from. And for season 6, we're focused on a ton of amazing AI agency owners who are just having the time of their lives building the things that they love to do and using AI to add more into the world. So if you're ready to ditch the grind, come on over and scale you. I am your host, Lai Lacaba. I'm the co-founder of 2XU, an executive assistant service, and of Bullseye, an AI systems agency. Our guest today is the founder and CEO of Automata Intelligentsia, where he helps growth stage organizations design human-light AI, automation, and intelligence systems that improve operations, strengthen decision-making, and scale business impact. He's a self-taught programmer and systems thinker and is passionate about helping leaders adopt AI in practical, responsible ways that empower people, eliminate operational friction, and create sustainable growth. So please help me welcome our guest today, Drew. Hey, Drew.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We're excited to have you on. Like I said, you're your first guest basically on the new season. So excited to dive into a lot of the things that we did kind of start talking about right before we hit record. But I do want to, of course, backtrack and ask you of like, how did this all start? How did the Drew that you are now kind of get started? What was like kind of, different people have a story of like, oh, I felt the first spark when I was 8 years old and I read this book, or I saw my parents do this, or someone in the community did this. What was that spark for you to start what you've kind of dominoed into?
So I kind of feel like my career has been a little bit like one of those Jackie Chan fight sequences where he keeps falling through like floors and then having to battle like different guys, and then he gets like kicked through a wall. Like I've fallen backwards through most of my career. I can say like my tech foundings were very early on. We were the first family that we knew that ever had a home computer. We used to I remember when my dad first got it, like the parade of people that would come for like the first 3 months. Every night there'd be a new person there that was like, yeah, like how does this work? And so like very early on, I was exposed to computers. I still remember my first search online, which I think was through Yahoo or something like that, or probably pre-Yahoo, whatever was there before Yahoo. I searched rocket ships. That was my first. It was such a foundational moment that I remember exactly what I typed into the keyboard, and it was from there. By the time I was 11 or 12, I got an interest in programming, and so I started doing some basic HTML, CSS, Python programming, or QBasic, or I don't know if Python was around at that point. It was I think it was QBasic at that point. And so I had that as a background. But then after college, I went to art school and I went into film and television because I didn't even go to college for film and television. I originally went because I wanted to be a recording engineer because I was really into music. But I lived with a bunch of film majors and I saw what they were doing and I was like, that's so much cooler than what I came here to do. I'm just going to do that. And so I did that and I graduated with a film and television degree. And so I left and went into the world of production, realized that unless you know somebody, you're not making any money for 30 years. So I'm like, well, that's not going to work. I got student loans. So I got I figured out what's the pivot here? What's the play? Because I know this, I went to school for such a specific thing that there's not a lot I can do. And so marketing became the kind of thing. I was like, that's an easy, I can leapfrog there. And so I went into marketing. I worked in marketing departments and at a advertising agency. Until eventually being brought in, I kind of built a reputation for fixing broken production systems. So even in film school, if someone's film went off the rails, which it does because it's a bunch of 20-year-old college students who drink too much and spend all their money, out at night. So I would be brought in, oftentimes at their professor's request to fix their problems. I would just make sure people showed up on time.
Here's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just the fixer, right? And since I had continued kind of building that as that's what I do. That's kind of my specialty, is coming in and fixing broken systems. So I got hired by a publisher to come in and fix a broken sponsored content pipeline. So these are like advertorials that you see in the newspaper, like sponsored videos, that kind of stuff. And it didn't take me very long at all. And like within 3 months, I'd fixed the problem they had. And I was like, they're going to fire me if I don't figure out something else to do here. And so I saw that there was an opportunity for some automation that they weren't taking advantage of. They had automation platforms, they were not using them. And they had a huge data and analytics problem where they were essentially filling out manual reports for all 186 clients every month. It would take a week out of every month just to complete the reports, because you're transposing data from one platform to another. It's just busy work. It's mindless busy work.
Yeah.
Now in the age of AI, this would have been unheard of. Like no one would let their team spend a week filling out meaningless reports that no one's going to look at, right? Well, I hope not.
Yeah.
But back then there was no AI, and this was just the kind of run-of-the-mill kind of thing. So I got deep into kind of data engineering, and then with that, automation, and it really kind of gave me this like GTM engineer skill set, because now I had the marketing background, so I understood how marketing worked, but now I also had the technology background of like how to automate things, how to get things to talk to each other, how to create programs that translate data from one platform to the other successfully. And so I did that. We then took that as a premise and launched the institutional investment community's first lead behavior kind of insight platform. And so we were able to go, because we had all this first party data, we were able to see who was reading the articles, who was watching videos, who was going to webinars, who was downloading white papers. We were able to create dashboards on a client by client basis based on topic intent. Right? Hey, this person's reading a lot about this one topic. You should reach out to them. And this was a very B2B publisher. And so we're talking like major organizations have like long sales cycles. This is not like Walmart selling to like, half.
Yeah.
Right? This is like, $1 million transactions. And so they have a very much of like an ABM approach, and they need to know, they need that data. And at the time there was nothing like it. LiveRamp had just started like a year or two prior to that. Intent data wasn't a thing. It just wasn't like if you went back in time and asked a bunch of people what intent data was, they'd have no clue that was even possible. But we had it. We had that first platform for that community. And so I left that role thinking, well, that was fun, but I want to do the agency thing, and I want to work with small businesses because I grew up in a small business community, and I just always had fun. I was always interesting. It was always an interesting environment to work on. So I started an agency, and like within a couple months, I realized, all the same technical nightmares that the big guys are facing, the little guys are facing, and neither of them know what to do with it. So I guess I have to sell that too. And so that became a huge part of our offerings, was like not just the creative, it was the tech. And so that, because I'd adopted AI in 2016, back when I was doing the data intelligence, like we were using machine learning back then. I had stayed current with all of that. And so as AI started to develop more and more and started to become more and more useful, like we started injecting it. We started building different agents and bots and custom GPTs and all of this stuff alongside our traditional marketing stuff. And then last year was really the turning point where we saw the marketing business, like in terms of revenue, just collapse because people realized that a lot of what we could do, they could either get AI powered tools to do that would do a good enough job that they'd be satisfied for a lot less, or they just kind of figured that we must be using AI for this, and we're probably like overcharging them, even though at that time, like we didn't use a lot of AI for that kind of stuff. Like we did in some capacities, but like a lot of our graphic design was still human done. A lot of our websites were all still human done. And so it came to this point where I just saw the revenue starting to shrink, and I was like, we have to do something. And so for the last year, or for that year in stealth mode, we just slowly pivoted our offer to just being more of like GTM engineering, AI implementation, automation building, and custom development. And so we I saw the light at the end of the tunnel with that, and I was like, there's something here. Like, there's an actual desire here. It's easier to sell. It's easier to deliver on. You know, the awful part about running a marketing agency that no one ever tells you before you start one is that you can get fired by being too good or not good enough. Like, mediocrity is really what wins the day in marketing, which is crazy. It doesn't seem like how it should be, but like, if you're bad, you get fired, right? Everybody knows that. But if you're too good, if you make it look too easy, they just assume that it's easy. And so they fire you. Or you work yourself out of a job. You get them so many leads and so many hits or so many sales that they're like, oh, we don't need you anymore. And so it's this constant thing where you're trying to get the case study, so you're putting all this effort in, but at the same time, that case study is then turning around stabbing you in the back, right? Like, so it's a tough world to be in. And the thing I noticed with this kind of work was that this is not something that they think is easy. It doesn't matter how easy I make it look. They have an instinct that is like, no, that I couldn't do that. And so you never have that. And so you can really do your best work, and you can be really proud of this stuff, and you don't have to hold back and like keep them. You know, I heard one marketing guru say, like, well, the trick to running agencies is you have to keep them wanting more. You can never have them feel like they have all of your attention and all of your skill. You have to kind of, and I was like, that sucks. I don't want to do that. I don't want people feeling like I'm withholding something from them because they're not paying me enough. Like, it's one thing to, I'm not saying do every service for no money, right? But I'm saying, if you're paying me $1,500 to do a job, I should do the best job possible for that $1,500. And the same thing, if you're paying me $15,000, I should do the best job for that $15,000. It shouldn't matter that the amount shouldn't determine the quality of work you receive. It shouldn't the quantity of work or the type of work you receive. So we officially launched in January of this year, and have been doing that, kind of the selling the GTM and custom AI and AI implementation, custom development since then. And it's been really exciting. It's great to be able to talk about this AI stuff and not have it feel like a sideshow to the rest of the business, or to have it feel like it's a competing business, like I'm working myself out of a job kind of thing.
True. Gotcha. Well, it's interesting. It's like mapping out your life. You started with this fascination with basically outer space, with searching up rockets, and then you went into building things a lot. I can imagine also. I remember that age. I think for my family, we were also one of the first ones to have a computer. So very early adopter, and then you started building, and then you actually went into creative, which is, when you said that, I was like, oh, pivot, a shift in the path. And then you kind of went back into it. Like, you started the marketing agency. Well, you did marketing for a while, marketing agency, but you still went back to, for a lack of a funnier term, the numbers nerd of it all, of just like, this is a curiosity, this is a fascination, this is the thing that I want to dive into. So I have a ton of other different little questions. What you said earlier on the intent data, because that's something that not a lot of people think about and also understand. What was kind of the most, trying to figure out, like, what's the best way to, like, either the most fun of that, kind of going into that, because I can see that would be a good way for you to, like, shift into, like, okay, this is not what I want to do. But what was the most fun of that field, and also what was the least fun when you were trying to do either the fixing the things that are broken, or going to, like, okay, now instead of me fixing something that's broken, I'm now helping them build something towards it. What was kind of that experience like for you?
So the most fun was feeling like I knew a secret that no one else knew. And like, I would go to conferences, I would meet people in person, and I would have seen their names in the intent data. And I'm like, I know every article you've read in the last 24 hours. Like, I can go back to my hotel room right now and find every video you've ever watched on our site, every webinar you've ever attended.
Wow.
Like, I know more about you than you will ever know about me. And there's some kind of intriguing about that. And like, and again, like, it was a news site. I wasn't going and finding out personal details of them cheating on their spouse. Like, it wasn't anything creepy. It was just kind of that, like, I know something you don't know, and you don't know I know it. Like, there was something really exciting about that. and the fact that no one knew that it was possible. And so like the reaction I got from clients when I first showed it to them, like when we first like got the first version of this dashboard up, I had sent I think a screenshot to a leader at Franklin Templeton, and I sent to him like all weekend. I was like working over the weekend to like finish this, and I was friendly with him at the time, and I sent him this screenshot, and he called me on a Sunday within like 5 minutes, which is like you don't get someone that high up the food chain to call you on the weekend. Like, and he's like,
That's be something impressive.
Yeah, he's like, that's incredible. How much does it cost? When can we get it? And I'm like, dude, I don't have no idea. Like, none of my team doesn't even know this is complete yet. Like, you were the first person, because I had just talked to him a couple days earlier, and I'd kind of like, yeah, I'm working on this thing. You might be interested in. And so he, immediately it was this, really fun process of explaining to people like how we got this data and how we like distilled it, and how we looked at sentiment, and how we looked at intent, and like what intent was. And it was a great teaching experience. And it was amazing to be able to talk to people that were at like, these people are the heads of banks. These are the heads of major financial institutions, and look at me with awe. Like, how did you ever like, our guys haven't even figured this out yet. And like, that was cool. It was very much like my rock star moment in life, where like I had done something no one else had done, and people were like, this is really cool. Like, I really want to go deeper into like how I can use this in my business. The least fun part of it was in building it, trying to explain, especially to the IT team, why I needed access, like why I needed such elevated access to these data sources, and then what I was trying to do. And then additionally, convincing the sales team once it was built, because the sales team was average age was probably 50. So these were not people that change very easily, right? They don't adopt new technology. Like, we had Salesforce, and it was hard enough for them to get logged into Salesforce on a regular basis. And so it was like convincing all of those people that like, I'm not crazy. This will work. You can sell this. This is valuable. People want this. And then have to hear in meetings, but no one's asking for this. I'm like, it's the old Henry.
They don't
Ford
know what
quote,
is
right?
possible.
Well, no, it's the old Henry Ford quote, right? It's, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd say a faster horse. Right? That's the thing. It's like, they don't know they want this because they don't even know it's a thing. Once you tell them it's a thing, they get really interested. And so what I did is I went on a tour, I think the year we launched it, to sell this to a bunch of clients out west. And I spent like, I think like a week in Colorado, a week in San Francisco, and then a week somewhere else. I forget, maybe Boston, going and visiting clients at these big firms and explain, like, I would be sitting there with like the sales guy who's, 55 and he's a really nice guy, but he would essentially just be like, okay, so to explain this, this young man. And then I'd have to figure out how to explain something that is a brand new concept to a bunch of people who have no, like, they don't even have the most basic understanding of how this could even be possible. So I have to I have to break it down to like, hey, do you have a search history in your browser, right? Well, what if someone could look into that search history? But what if someone could look into it, but just pull out the stuff that was meaningful that to make a sale? Like, and you go through and explain things like that. And that's kind of an interesting part. It's part of that, like, kind of knowing a secret and like having to tell people about it or uncovering there was a couple times in my marketing career where we landed on a tactic that just like crushed. And like, I think a lot of marketers would like keep that close to their chest until like it burns out. And like, I was always the first person to be like, guys, you're not going to believe this. Like, this has worked pretty well. So like, it was always that that part that was, I think, the most enjoyable was just like building it and explaining it and showing people what was possible.
Gotcha. It's so fascinating because like a lot of the different, now of course, like zooming into that part of the story, a lot of the different puzzle pieces of like having to then explain it to this board of people who probably have no idea what it is, but they know once they see it, they'll like, oh, this is exactly, we didn't know what we needed. This is exactly the thing that'll push us forward, and also just the leading into kind of everything else. Like, how do you think that shaped? And I know you're at this time of recording, like your business has only been about 7 months at this point. How do you think that bled into starting an actual like AI automations? And I know it kind of came from a place of stress of like, okay, marketing's probably not going to keep running the way that it is. Let's pivot, let's switch here. How do you think that fascination of one, and I love the way they describe it, like knowing a secret basically about someone or something, and then being the first one to talk about it, and also the fascination into building something that no one knows that they need it yet. They just know that they need a faster horse without knowing that there's another way to be able to do it. Because like, I remember this video that I watched like the other day of like, the biggest thing or the biggest advantage of humans is just imagination. Like if we can imagine it, we can have an idea in our head and we can articulate and talk to it, either to human and or to, of course, AI. It's easier to actually build. What has that been for you? Like translating that drive that you had from that rock star moment to building the marketing agency to now where your business is at?
So I always really liked the technical side of my business because it was always a binary, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're graded on a pass fail. Either the thing you built them works or the thing you built them doesn't work. Marketing, the traditional part of marketing is very subjective, right? You can write a great campaign and it can fail. You can write a great campaign that does well, but it doesn't hit the client's expectations and so fails. And so I like being creative. I like doing creative work. I don't like being graded on it on this ever-moving scale that I can't account for. It's kind of like having a string of like really bad professors in college or something like that, where you just like, man, like no matter what I do, I can't make these people happy. Even though like, we had a client try to stiff us for $4,000 off of a just simple website project, right? The website's in my portfolio. Like it's that good. We were so proud of it, of how it turned out, that we added it to our portfolio, even though this guy like essentially was like, oh, it looks like crap, I'm not paying for this and all of this. And it's like, that's the kind of thing you have to compete with. Now, the reality was the guy had, drunk all his money away and needed money. And so he just took it out on me. And the credit card companies ended up finding in my favor because even they could look at it and was like, this is a great looking website. Like they delivered exactly what you wanted. Like, here's the spec sheet. Here's what they gave you. They gave you more than what you asked for. Like you have no grounds here. So, but that's the kind of thing you have to deal with in marketing, is this subjectivity on your creativity, that you not only have the client's criticism, but you also have the general public's. Like there's been ads that I've written that I'm just like, this is a funny, good ad. This should work. And it doesn't. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get why that didn't work. And then I'll write something that's absolutely hacky and should never work, and it'll work. And I'll be like, now come on, like, way to make me feel terrible about myself is like the thing I know is trash works, and the thing I think is great doesn't. And so I always hated that part of marketing. I hated the fact that like, I'm okay being graded. I just want a pass fail grade. I don't want to have these gray areas where it's like, well, I think the campaign did great, but the client was expecting 20% more. When in reality, it's like, well, that expectation was never going to be hit. Like that. And we would have told them that. We'd been like, well, hey, you're starting from zero. I think any leads at this point would be good. Like, as long as you're getting leads consistently, like, let's start there and then we can build on it. And so that was always the thing that like drew me to the technology side. And I think why I had more fun with it and why I spent so much more time on the technology side than I've found out very early on, like sitting through marketing webinars is just about the most boring thing you can do in your life, because marketing comes down to like 3 principles, and it's not a complicated business. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's such a simple business, but everybody just tries to throw their own spin on it. And so you end up sitting through, if you've watched one marketing webinar, congratulations, you never have to watch another one, because they're probably going to say the exact same
Probably the
thing.
same thing, yeah.
And so that part of it, that repetition, that boredom was just always something that I just did not like about the field. And so shedding that, like the day I launched and I said, I'm not selling marketing services anymore. Like we do GTM engineering, but that's a different animal than traditional marketing. When we said, no, we're not going to do that anymore, it was the greatest relief of my life. Like I've never felt that. Even though I was starting over from scratch, essentially, like, and giving up 6 years of like kind of brand equity that I had built, it was such a relief to just know that I could build something. And as long as it worked and did what it was supposed to do, the client would be happy. And I didn't have to worry about the subjectivity of like, well, I don't like how you organize those steps. Like they're not going to see it. They're just going to be like, cool, I pushed the button and it works. Awesome. Here's the money. Like, that's what I'm looking for. And so I now, I'm certainly still creative in a lot of what I do, and a lot of what you have to do with AI is creative.
Oh yeah.
I just reserve it. I reserve it for the things that I need it for, and the things that I want to do. Like I wrote a children's book, which I know is the most cliche. Like, every guy in advertising like that has ever been a copywriter, if you go and look at all their careers, they all write children's books. I don't know why we all do it. I don't know why we're drawn to it. I think it's because it allows us to be silly. Like our clients don't let us be as silly as we want to be. And like writing a children's book, you can be smart and silly, and it's totally fine. Like you fly under the radar. So like I do stuff like that, and that is infinitely more satisfying watching my kids smile because of my creativity than ever having a client like say like, oh, I really liked that ad campaign. Like I'll trade all of those for, reading a book I wrote to my kids. That's way more rewarding, because they're not coming and saying, well, the ending could have been better. Like,
also no harsh critique.
My daughter is a bit of a critic, so I'm sure when she gets a little older, she's going to start being like, well, the follow-up wasn't as good as the original.
Yeah. It's funny because like the children's book, it's funny because like part of my lifetime is I used to run a book publishing company, and the amount of times people pitched me children's books to publish, I'm like, that is a wild and out of this world kind of idea. But it's interesting how you really took and it's true when it comes to marketing agencies or marketing in general, just being that subjective versus, I can imagine for a lot of the automations, like, does it work or does it not work? Can people use this or people not being able to use it? It's just that yes or no makes it cleaner. And I can imagine a little bit more, like you said, freeing of like, oh, I don't have to bow down to kind of this is how people saw, or this is how the client understood essentially the brief, versus like, hey, this is what we agreed to. Yes or no, does it work? On the automation side, what has been the most fun thing for you to build? I can imagine even in the last like just 7 months, I can imagine you built a lot of fun stuff because you have a lot of that excitement on it. But what has been the most fun for you to build in the last 7 months since launching your agency?
So that's like a Sophie's Choice times 10. Like I built 21 major platforms in the last 18 months. Wow. And then a handful of like smaller applications. And like, they're all my babies. Like I like all of them.
All of them are the most fun.
the thing that I like the most though, the thing that gets me excited, and I haven't finished it yet. It's not available. It will be soon. I've got to get back to it. I created a new email client, which by the way, don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known how hard that was going to be when I started that project. I was like, it's an email client. How hard can it be? No, like an Outlook app, like where you can bring in your email accounts and like filter your email. Because I was really dissatisfied with all of the email. I've tried all of them. I've tried all the ones from Mac, all the ones from Windows.
Satisfaction, yeah.
They don't work the way I want them to work, right? They do Like the closest I've been able to get was MailSpring on Windows and Airmail on Mac. But Airmail changed a few years ago and became terrible. And like it took away a bunch of features that were like I was using heavily, but I guess the rest of their users weren't using. So they removed those. And so I stopped using it and I started using MailSpring. And MailSpring is great. It's open source, so you can't beat that. But it has leakage issues. It has RAM leakage issues. Like if you run it too long, it'll dominate your computer and like nothing will run. So you have to constantly close out of it, which is not what you want for an email platform. So I built one that it's called Letters, and it's inspired by Ernest Hemingway. And so it seems in like the AI is trained to speak like Ernest Hemingway. Because I just thought I love Ernest Hemingway, and I just was like, when I was thinking of like all the things I wanted in this, I was like, I want an AI agent, but I want an AI agent who's a good writer, who will write me emails that sound better than I can write them. Yeah. And so I was like, well, if I could, I saw like an article or something about, or maybe it was just like a social media post, which was like, if you could pick one writer from history to write your obituary, who would it be? And I was like, oh, that's such a good question, because there's a lot of them. Like, do I want to go like the satire route and get like a PJ O'Rourke, or do I want to go like, like the more of the intellectual adventure of Ernest Hemingway, or something more like, something that sounds a little bit more Dickensian. Like it's just like, or Shakespeare for that matter. Like, can you imagine having your obituary written by William Shakespeare? I mean, I'm sure he would make you sound far more cool and dramatic than you actually were. So like,
it's a dramatic part.
I had that in my mind, and I was just thinking, who would I want to write my emails? And I was like, Ernest Hemingway. I want Ernest Hemingway to write my emails. So I trained an AI agent to write like Ernest Hemingway, which by the way, my intention is to open source this, so I don't want to get any flack from like the Ernest Hemingway Foundation. I know they're very protective of him. This is all in love of his work, not in parody or anything like that. But that's the kind of thing that this was a real problem for me. It's something I've dealt with for 10 years of not having a good email client that I liked, and building it and then to put in all the stuff that I wanted and being like, hey, your mail application should have a calendar that you can immediately switch to. So when you're trying to book a call, you don't have to switch screens. Like, it's just obvious stuff like that. That's like, why does that not exist? Why are notes not in an email application? I need notes constantly, right? Like, none of them have it built in. So it's like, I took all these features of like, I've always wanted inside of one of these platforms, and I actually got to put it together. And it's stood up. Like, the front end's done, the back end's almost done. We have some like sync issues with the mail servers to sort out, but it's been amazing. It's been so fun to see that come to fruition. The most exciting though, like it's been the passion project. The most exciting one was I built a platform first in N8N, then as a Claude plugin. Now we're working on a browser application for it called Ascendus. And Ascendus is I think the one thing in marketing that I'm most proud of, because what we did is we recreated an organic marketing team for small businesses that cannot afford $250,000 worth of payroll for an organic marketing team. That's not going to pay off for 5 years. And we took that and we made that in an application that will do keyword research, trend tracking, reverse analytics. So like looking back at what content worked well in the past so that you can repeat it. Competitor analytics, newsletter creation, blog writing, that's both SEO and AEO optimized and humanized, so it doesn't sound like AI. And so we put this all together. Graphic design does all the imagery for the blogs. We put it together. We started our beta test in January. Within 30 days, our beta test client had reached the front page of Google for several keywords.
Whoa.
I was like, holy cow. I thought it would work. I did not think it would work that quickly. And then since then, we've launched it with 2 or 3 other people, because like right now it's living on my machine. Like all of these have lived on my machine. and then connected. So we just met with a client who just started using it about 30 days ago. He got 2,400 from a website that was pretty much dead. It was not getting traffic at all. He's gotten 2,400 page visits in the last 30 days since he started using it.
Wow.
It's like a cheat code.
I want to try it. How do I sign up for this? It sounds so cool.
It works amazingly well. And it's still new software. And so like, that's the thing is like, it's already working so well that now when we add to it, it's like giving it steroids. Like it's just making it even work even better. It's just like
more superpowers. Yeah.
Yeah. We already have Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now we're turning into the Terminator. Like we are like, it's relentless in how good it is at the thing we designed it to do. And it's the kind of thing that when I first created it, people were like, well, that's exactly the kind of AI that like puts people out of work. And it's like, no, because the people that would buy this don't have the money to hire those people in the first place. And the only way they're ever going to have the money is if they do better marketing and get more traffic and get more clients. So if anything, I'm not preventing people from getting jobs. What I'm doing is creating an environment where those jobs might actually be created one day. Whereas before they wouldn't be. So it's one of those things that in my business, I draw a very hard line on that. I'm not going to, if you come to me and you say, I want you to build me this thing because I want to fire Carol, Carol's job's safe. I'm not building it. Like I'm not building something to replace a human that's already working and doing a perfect good job. I will build a tool for Carol to make her job easier. I will build a tool that will make her more effective. I'm not building things to replace all humans because that serves nobody. Like even in a utopian society where we don't have to work anymore, people are still going to work. They're just going to work differently. They're going to do more things that are passion driven because work is a value that every human holds at some capacity, like doing something, getting off the couch and doing something. Most people would agree is an important part of their life, whether it's volunteer. Like that's how so many retirees go into volunteering. Like they stop working and then on a Friday and Monday, they're volunteering at an animal shelter because it feels good. It feels good to contribute. So that's the kind of thing that I'm not interested in building stuff that's, kill all humans. It's not my cup of tea.
No, I love it because it's also my core belief in life is like entrepreneurs are always creating value in the world. Like that's the thing all entrepreneurs do is like they created some things to add something. And for you're not only adding, you're making sure you're also not reducing. You're also making sure you're not taking something away from something that, like you said, totally works. Like why would you take Carol's job when she does it really, really well? And like you don't know the repercussions later on if you do replace Carol because you're only looking at it from that point of view. So I love that stands. Curious, what happened to the marketing agency?
So my initial plan, December of last year, was to keep on about 30% of my staff. I let go of about 60% of my staff over last year, not all at once, kind of drips and drabs here and there as work dried up, right? As we stopped booking that kind of work. Hey, there's no more videos. We don't need video editors anymore. So I'm sorry, like best of luck, but like there's nothing here for you, right? We're not selling this anymore. So we're not gonna have any work for you. And so we reduced staff headcount by about 60% over 2025. My plan was to keep on the remaining members of the team as just kind of a little bit of a ghost ship of like, we had some clients still under retainer that we still needed to do work for. And my plan was just kind of let them ease out, right? Get to a point where, okay, it just doesn't make sense to have any, like everybody's just kind of sitting around looking at each other and then say to them like, listen, I think we're at the end of the road here. I'll give you guys 30 days, but like, it's been a joy, but this is over, right? The party's over, right? I gotta clean up all the confetti and the party whistles and all that.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. And they all kind of knew that. Like I'd given them opportunities to come and join the new firm. And I told them the kind of roles I was looking for, but there wasn't a lot of interest, to be frank. These are marketers. They're not technologists. And it's not that they couldn't be. One of the people that had expressed an interest in coming over was certainly gave it her best shot. And it wasn't that she wasn't even good at it. She was actually very good at it. She didn't like it.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about that. I can't force you to like something. I can't force you into a career that you don't want. So
Yep.
it was the kind of thing that, this is just kind of, this was going to be the path. And I was thinking
End of the road. Yeah.
September-ish, we'd close the business down. And then it was kind of a confluence of a bunch of different things happening in my life that I just realized that I built this thing over 6 years, and I was essentially just flushing it down the toilet. And I was doing it because I couldn't make any money at it, not because there wasn't money to be made. I just couldn't make money doing it.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that, and then I was talking to one of my team members about what's he want to do. He's on the creative side, and I was like, listen, man, the writing's on the wall. We've been talking about this for months. What's your plan? What are you going to do? And what do you want to do? And just kind of giving him an option to be like, well, hey, I am actually really into this AI, because he was someone that had played with AI and had done some cool stuff. So I thought maybe there's something there. And he's saying, he's like, I really just want to do marketing. I don't really want to do anything else. And I was like, fair. And I was like, well, but what else? What else? What are other dreams? He's like, well, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Oh.
And I was like, what if you just take over the agency?
Wow.
Because the biggest liability to it right now is me. Right, I have to, because I'm U.S. based and they're Philippines based. I have to take out an American wage from the business in order to make the business work, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm not pulling a wage from it, if I'm not selling into it because I can't make a wage, then you guys don't have jobs. But if I'm not in the business anymore, you guys instantly have 10K or more of free cash flow that you can do whatever you want with, right? That's a pretty good deal. To as a starting place, right? So I was like, well, what if you just took it over? I'll just be your silent partner. I'll manage the back end. I'll do the admin and the books and all the annoying parts that I've already hired an accountant.
You take care of anyway.
I'm already taking care of stuff, right? The email system, all that stuff, the annoying parts about running an agency. I'll do all that, right? Because that I already have systems for, I already have automations for. I'll take care of that. You go and sell whatever you want to sell, right? Use the name, use the portfolio, because he's the portfolio. He did most of the work, right? Or he oversaw the creative director, so he oversaw most of it. So it's not like me just grabbing a guy off the street and be like, yeah, use my work, say you did it. No, he did it. So there's no dishonesty. Just take my name off the website, or you can put me as the founder at the bottom of the page and as no longer with the company or whatever. I don't care. But you take it over. And then I said, but I think you're going to need help. And so I went back to the person that had expressed an interest in coming over the AI side, who was my project manager. And I said, what do you think about this? What do you think about you two taking over the firm? And just you run it the way you want to run it. I'm not going to put any restrictions on you besides you have 90 days to make it profitable, right?
Yeah.
And profitable in the sense that nothing's coming out of my pocket anymore, right? I'm not paying the insurance anymore. I'm not paying all this stuff. It's self-sustaining, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a low barrier for them to hit that if they can't in 90 days, I think they're going to walk away not feeling like, oh, if we only had, no, they're going to realize I didn't want to do that. That was not what I thought it was going to be. So we're very early on in this process, but I think they're going to do it. I think both of them are smart enough, and both of them have been doing this with me long enough, and both of them understand what we do, well enough
Mhm.
that they're going to be able to take this and actually make it profitable in a way that I never could, because on the one side I have falling rates, and on the other side I have rising like cost of living. So I'm like permanent squeeze. And there's plenty of ways you can like implement AI, but in marketing. But one of the things that always drove me crazy about marketing was how a lack of morals was rewarded in that field. The most immoral people are the best marketers, like hands down. And
I see that.
there's a few people that buck that trend, very few, right? And they're the Alex Hormozis, the Russell Brunsons, the Dan Kennedys of the world. But like, if you look at some of the people that people look up to, right? Jordan Belfort is huge in the sales and marketing community, right? The guy went to prison for fraud. Like, he's the guy people are looking up to. And I love
pendulum, swings one or the other.
And this isn't to trash talk Jordan Belfort. I know he's reformed and he is a great salesperson and he's phenomenal at what he does. And I've heard from people that have met him before that he's like a wonderful human being. It doesn't change the fact that what is the real reason people are looking up to him? Are they looking up to him because of his like NLP style sales advice now, or because he pulled off this massive con on Wall Street in his Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
Right? Like which is it? And I just I saw that again and again working in marketing, how these people that had no morals, no ethics would be at the top of the pile all the time. And it was the one business I've ever been a part of where having morals and having values actively worked against you. It was an active liability in business. Like early on, I said I didn't want to work for Vice, not the magazine. Like Vice is a category. So gambling, porn, tobacco, drugs, like I didn't want to do any of that, right? Two of the biggest marketing opportunities over the last 20 years was OnlyFans and all the gambling sites. And I said no to them, right? Yeah. I didn't want a part of that. I didn't want any business with those because I didn't want it on my conscience. Like, if other people want to do that, that's fine. I'm not judging them. I'm saying I don't feel right about convincing young women to make such a dramatic choice so early on in their lives, or potentially deceiving them by saying something that I don't know if is true or not. And I don't want to encourage people to go and spend their mortgage payment on a gambling site. Like that doesn't feel good to me. But there's a lot of marketers that don't care. And
they just go.
Yeah. They get bonuses every quarter, right? Because that's what they do. And like, that moral hazard, I can't tolerate. I don't want to look back at my career and be like, I hurt people. That's my biggest fear is that, there will come a point in my life where I have to reflect on everything I've done. And I don't feel confident that I was a net positive on the world.
That's just a good way to see that. And it actually ties perfectly to usually the last question that I ask on the podcast, which is, given the way that the world is constantly evolving, talking about Terminator, if there was a way to perfectly clone you, let's say that there was, your identical twin, or there were 10 Drews, 100 Drews, 300 Drews, a whole army of you, basically. What do you think, or we're asking this question, and I love asking this question, of how would you want to shift the world with that much influence? Like, I love the way, a lot of the things that you already said of like, and I affirm to it of like, you love adding the things without making sure that you're not removing something, and you want to add more into something that's good that doesn't hurt basically a lot of other people. What would that world look like with 300 Jews running around, being you that you are now?
It depends on how much power you get. I mean, if you replace all of Congress with 300 Drews, I don't know how many people are in Congress. I think it's something like that number.
Yeah.
If you put all of us in Congress, I mean, things change pretty dramatically. I mean, the thing that irritates me the most of anything is fraud and scams. Right? Because I've been personally affected by fraud. My wife almost fell for a very convincing scam, which is a new one, and it's very convincing. And she was almost in tears over it because a police officer called her and said that she had not responded to a subpoena about some case like 10 years ago in New York.
Wow.
And there was a warrant for her arrest. And if she didn't come down to the police station to turn herself in, that they were going to come to the house and arrest her in front of the kids. Then my wife has done nothing. She is the most innocent person I know. She gets, if I don't get the inspection sticker put on the truck before it expires, I hear about it just about every week until I get it done.
Yeah.
Right. Like she doesn't like, and meanwhile, like I'm like, it's a $25 ticket. Pull me over. Sure. I'll have a chat with a cop. Like I have no problem with that. Like it doesn't bother me. But like she always wants to be within the lines. And so hearing that was awful. Now, luckily, I just so happened to come downstairs in the middle of this situation unfolding on the phone. And I immediately could tell it was a scam. I'd never heard of it, but I just knew the patterns that these guys go through. And so that's the thing I would go after. I would go after all the fraudulent businesses out there that prey on people that have absolutely no right to exist, right? Like payday lenders, sorry, you don't have a right to exist. Like you cannot, you're legalized loan sharking. That's what it is. It's just legal. It's legalized fraud. Same thing with in big insurance companies. Like you shouldn't get to deny a claim. That's part of what you shouldn't get to pick and choose what you pay. It's no, if the doctor says you got to pay, you got to pay. And so I think, we've become this very fraud tolerant culture where we've legalized fraud, we've encouraged it, we've exaggerated it to a point that it's leaching into our culture. And now you see people posting on social media about, hey, here's how to dine and dash successfully. Here's how to steal items from CVS successfully. And it's like, that doesn't just come from nowhere. That comes
should be normal,
a societal acceptance that we're surrounded by criminals, blue collar and white collar, and everybody's out to get everyone. And that's bad for societal cohesion. It's bad for societal health. And like, that's the number one thing that if we could get rid of that aspect of it, get rid of insider trading in politics, get rid of the kickback system, that's the thing that is actually going to make the biggest change over time than any of the little petty stuff politicians argue about. Like 90% of what politicians argue about has no bearing on anything that is going to actually affect, like, Joe Main Street, right? Like the fraud will. And no one's doing anything about it. It drives me crazy. So that's the thing. I would go after fraud. I think it's too pervasive. It's too pervasive of a force, and it impacts so much in our society in a negative way.
It's such an interesting, again, a lot of your stances are coming from a root of being the person who both fixes and builds things. So finding that pattern in all of your stories has been very interesting. So how can people find out more about you? How can people connect with you? Where are you at in the world where people, Google your name or ask AI who Drew is? How can people find you?
So you can go to our website, automataintel.org, AUTAMATA, Intel, INTEL. Not .org, .com. I have a .com now. I had a .org since so long, I forget. So automataintel.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can just search my name. If you put my name into YouTube, I used to be the #1 search result, and I've, interviews going back years. Now there's a fitness influencer with my name. So if you type it in, you get some guy that like, 5 feet tall and looks nothing like me. You're not gonna find me on YouTube as easily as you used to. But I'm also on X, which, by the way, if anyone out there is interested in AI and they're not on X, you're missing the party. That's really where all of the news breaks. It's where all the new software developments are. It's where, like, if you want to be on the bleeding edge of this, if you want to know the stuff that your neighbor's going to know 6 months from now, That's the only social network that matters for that. There's, if you aren't into that, or if you just want to hang out on LinkedIn, like, go right ahead. But in terms of this part of the world, this part of society, this little niche, X is unbelievably wealthy with people that are doing some of the most amazing things at large scale and small scale. It's wild.
That's amazing. That's a good tip to leave on, because I think that's one of the things where, depending on the world around the world, they might not be on it just based like, oh, everything's so noisy, but it is true. Like everything that is all posted on Facebook and LinkedIn everywhere else usually starts on X, and I've seen that pattern over and over again. Well, thank you so much, Drew, for your time today. Thank you for sharing a lot of your story and going into it where, it's very clear what your vision is and where you're headed. So, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, no problem. It was great talking to you, Leanne. I hope to speak with you again soon.
Again, if you guys want to learn more about Drew, you can find this information in the description below. Make sure to follow him everywhere, especially on X. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button wherever you're listening or watching this from. And if you have any questions for Drew, feel free to drop them in the comments as well. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening this from for the Skillset podcast, so you don't miss any of the future episodes every Tuesday, wherever platform you're listening or watching from. Hope you guys have a wonderful and fantastic day. Everyone, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.